Let me welcome to the program the Blackstone Group Chairman and CEO and founder, Stephen Schwarzman here. Stephen, good to see you.
Good to see you, Maria.
Thank you so much for joining us. And, of course, you are the chairman of the President's Policy Council. This is the first business president in the White House. Tell us about the President consulting business leaders for input on policy. What will take place today in that meeting?
Well, the President likes talking to business people. He's comfortable with them. We have a very large agenda today, very active. We're going to be meeting in 5 different groups with 5 cabinet heads, and they're going to be presenting their basic plans, and part of our function is to review those plans and give advice. In addition, we're going to be talking about a variety of areas ranging from regulatory reform, infrastructure, trade, education in the workplace, etc. So it's a lot to cram in. We've got an hour with the President, an hour before in the individual work groups.
Listen, I understand that, Paul Ryan has been dominated by health care, and I understand that there was a decision to do health care first. But, Steve, every time I speak with business managers, yourself included, people always talk about tax reform as being a #1 priority to actually move the needle on economic growth. So you've named a lot of things there. But how important is tax reform, and do you expect this administration to get this done this year?
Well, I think that's the objective. It's a complicated area because to lower rates, you have to raise revenue from areas, and there are a lot of sacred cows that people don't like to have taken away, whether they're mortgage deductions or charity deductions or deductibility of state and local taxes. And so threading the needle to get a program that works on the numbers but also works politically is not particularly easy. Something will get done, but there are a lot of different alternatives. They all need to be debated before you go into real time, because what you don't need to have is another one of the sort of rushed healthcare types of outcomes.
Right. And so one of the debates is about this border adjustment tax. Is that still on the table, Steve?
I think it's on the table, but it's having some difficulties. And the difficulties may not be whether it's a good thing. Absolutely. It's getting to a good thing, which introduces a lot of uncertainty into the economy and politically if something goes wrong. So my own guess, which is all it is that if anything gets done in that area, it'll be a lot smaller. It'll be a lot more gradual, and it would be designed to not have people excited about it, either inside the United States or outside.
Yeah. I mean, we had on yesterday one of the Toyota managers, and he said that the price of a Camry would go up $1,000 per vehicle if, in fact, there was a border adjustment tax. So, I mean, we've heard from a lot of industries that are very up in arms about this. So do you think that the real debate in terms of getting, past all of these different ideas is the deductibility issues and the charitable contributions and is that really where the battle will be? Because people are afraid we're going to see the same kind of battle that we saw in health care over tax reform, and at the end of the day, nothing gets done.
Well, I don't know that health care is dead and has gone away.
Okay, yes.
As has been reported. They're
still working on it.
There are evidently people working on it and have some reasonable expectations that at the end of grinding away on it with people's objections, you'll probably get something that at least gets out of the House. So on tax reform, those issues that you mentioned, each one of whom has a lobby. I just got a call from a governor of a state last night talking to me about the deductibility of state and local interest and how bad it would be for his state, which is obviously a very, high tax state.
Right, right. So as a businessman who obviously owns a lot of companies, Steve, and you see all different industries because of the ownership that you have at the Blackstone Group, when you look at the healthcare situation, characterize it for us. Is that what's stopping businesses from investing? I mean, for the last 8 years, they've been sitting on cash. Is it because the cost of health care, is it because the costs surrounding these policies have handicapped them to the extent that we really need a repeal and replace?
Well, what I'd say is what stopped people is not health care per se. It was a regulatory overload. It was hard for the financial system to extend credit. It was hard for people to borrow. So in a way, regulation was necessary in certain areas. But to the extent we did it really hard, and that had an adverse income. So part of the theory of where we go in the future is we keep safety and soundness, but we cut back on regulations that aren't needed. Now, just announcing that that's where we're going has driven the stock market to record levels, and it's driven consumer confidence to record levels. That's just announcing it. Right?
Yeah.
So the debottlenecking of the U.S. economy is a really extremely important thing. And it's not just healthcare is a piece of a much wider type of regulatory overload.
So the unleashing in the business sector, you're expecting that as a result of regulatory rollback. I mean, the President's Strategic and Policy Forum meeting includes business leaders from a wide array of companies like General Motors, IBM, Walmart, Disney. You're the chairman of the forum. Tell us about what's going to be said today about the regulatory rollback. Is there more to come? And do you see that leading to sort of what was on the shelf comes off the shelf? Businesses start investing again.
Right. Well, what we're doing is, that's one reason we're meeting with 5 cabinet heads to start. We'll have other meetings. There'll be other cabinet heads to look at how this deregulation thing is rolling out, whether it can be done better, or it can be done differently, and that's part of the contribution that the people on the forum are very busy, very important, very competent people. So to the extent that we can engage them, which we're doing, and this is different than some of the other groups that have met with the president. There's a lot of work that gets done between meetings and with individual members and individual people in government to help them accomplish their objective.